What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Slasher44, and today we're doing another episode of Versus. Now, Versus is a series where we put two weapons head-to-head to see which one is better and make you a better Call of Duty player. Before we get into that, one thing about the gameplay. This gameplay just shows you how good SMGs are with stock. It makes your movement speed so much better, but that's not what today's video is about. Just a little tip before we got into things. So, guys, this is Versus, like I said earlier, and this series has become one of the most popular series on this channel, so I thank you guys for that, because it's really you guys that do that. You decide what series you like and what series you don't like by hitting that like button. So, again, if you guys enjoy this series and want to see more of it, all you have to do to tell me so is either leave a comment telling me what you think about it, or leave a like rating, and it will really let me know what you think of this series. But besides that, let's get into it. So today we have the VMP versus the Vesper, two very high fire rate, pretty low damage SMGs, and going into this I didn't know which gun was going to win, and once I got into it even more, I realized how close these weapons are and how good the stats are really on both of these, and they're definitely both weapons to be reckoned with. So as always, let's get into it by starting off with damage. So we always start off with damage, and guess what? This is the first time this has ever happened. Watch this. So the VMP's damage is 30 bullets up close, 23 at mid-range, 19 at long range. The Vesper's 30 bullets up close, 22 at mid-range, 19 at long range. They have the exact same damage profile. 4 bullets up close, 5 at mid-range, and 6 at long range. It's the exact same. This is the only time we've compared two weapons thus far, and it's been this. So that's absolutely insane. But the thing we can look at to compare these even further is the range. And when you look at range, the VMP is much better. So for the short to mid-range is 6 meters for the Vesper, 12 for the VMP. The medium to long range for the Vesper is 19 meters. For the VMP is 25 meters. So that is definitely a better stat for the VMP, and for that we are giving it plus 1 point. So that's kind of damage. That's kind of damage in a roundabout way. So if we really look at it, the VMP has better damage because it has better damage over certain ranges. But if things are staying normal, the fire rate should be better for the Vesper, because when one weapon has a better damage profile, the other one has a better fire rate. This is no exception. So for the VMP, it has a fire rate of 909, whereas the Vesper has a fire rate of 1200. A beastly fire rate, and the highest one out of any weapon in the game besides the P06. So that's a super high fire rate, and for that, it gets plus 1 point. So as you can see, stereotypical guns going head to head here. We have one with a better damage profile, kind of, and one with a better fire rate. Very simple so far, until we get into the nitty-gritty. So when I say nitty-gritty, what do I mean? What kind of stats are those? So the ones when I say that are considered to be the ones that don't directly affect your time to kill. So one great example of this is reload speed. So let's start off with that one. So reload speed is very simple to look at. For the VMP, when you have bullets still in the magazine, it takes 1.8 seconds, whereas the Vesper takes 2 seconds. When you have an empty magazine, the VMP takes 2.4 seconds, whereas the Vesper takes 2.5 seconds. In both circumstances, the Vesper is worse, and for that, the VMP gets plus 1 point. Another stat that doesn't directly affect your time to kill, aim down sights time. You don't necessarily need to aim down sights to kill someone, so it doesn't always take effect. So for the VMP, the aim down sights time is 0.25 seconds, whereas if we look at the Vesper is 0.225 seconds. So 0.025 seconds faster for the Vesper, so for that, it gets plus 1 point. Not a huge amount of time, but it may affect you in 1 or 2 gunfights per game. So one of the stats I don't normally think about, that's one of those minor stats that I was talking about, is ammo or magazine size, and this is incredibly important, and especially when you are looking at high fire rate weapons, which is exactly what we're looking at today. So when we look at the VMP, it has a 40 round magazine, whereas if we look at the Vesper, it has a 30 round magazine. This is actually a bigger deal than you think, because the Vesper has a higher rate of fire, which means you're going to burn through that magazine that much quicker. So it would be important for the Vesper to have a bigger magazine size. In this case, it doesn't. So that 40 magazine size for the VMP is actually a huge positive, and for that, it gets plus 1 point. So really we don't have many stats to look at, but we have one, and in my opinion, it is the most important one. And of course, as always, that's time to kill. So time to kill is incredibly important because the faster you kill someone, the less time they have to kill you. And with these weapons, they both have very good time to kills actually. So up close, the VMP has a 0.198 second time to kill, whereas the Vesper has a 0.15 second time to kill, the second fastest in the SMGs. At mid-range, the VMP has a 0.264 second time to kill, and the Vesper has a 0.2 second time to kill. So that spread is getting even larger, and it doesn't get any better the further and further you get. And it's because that fire rate is so high for the Vesper that it has this incredibly good time to kill. So for that, it gets +1 point, and it is now tied, and we have retired all the stats. So this is where it kind of comes down to opinion. We could compare accuracy, but both of them kind of suck. If you're out of that short range, their accuracy is very hard to control. So there's no point in giving points out for that. But I must say one thing. The VMP got a lot of its points for those minor stats, the things that don't directly affect your time to kill and are the things that you can just adjust with playstyle, whereas the Vesper got a majority of its points for fire rate and time to kill. Time to kill, the most important stat in the game, and because it wins that, I'm going to have to give it 1 extra point and make it the winner this week because it wins in most of those major stats. And on top of that, this is one of the only times ever where a weapon hasn't had a better outright damage profile, and it has a better fire rate by over 300 RPM, which is absolutely astonishing. It's a huge RPM. That RPM is almost as good as the Shivas, which is huge. So because of that, the winner this week is the Vesper. But I want to hear what you guys have to think in the comment section below. What one of these weapons do you think is better? And more importantly than that, which weapons do you want to see in versus next week? Let me know in the comment section below or on Twitter, link in the description. Subscribe for new Call of Duty videos every single day of the week, except for Sundays. Sundays are for rest, as Jesus would say, as Jeebus, he says that. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.